Hello and welcome to Swiftly Spoken, a fan-made Taylor Swift podcast in which we break down her lyrics, deep dive into full album retrospectives, and theorise about what may be coming next. As always, we're your hosts Cameron and Lisa, and in this episode we're going to be recapping and celebrating the end of the European leg of the Eras Tour and talking about those last few incredible London shows.
This is a very exciting episode for us, not only because we are going to be talking about those last amazing shows and kind of like wrapping up the Eras Tour as we have known it for this year, basically. Also because it is our podcast anniversary, and also because you attended a few of these shows.
Yes.
So it's all very exciting.
It's all very, very exciting. But yes, firstly, we have obviously been doing this podcast 3 years now, I believe.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
Which is crazy. And we are now finishing up our third season. So this is actually the last episode of season 3.
Yes.
And in a couple of weeks we will be entering into season 4, and there should be lots of exciting things incoming. But yes, we have been doing this podcast 3 years, which I find crazy anyway, the fact we've been doing it 3 years.
I know, the things that have happened.
It feels like just yesterday. Yeah, the things that have happened, it feels like yesterday when we were kind of drafting it all up. And
definitely.
It is crazy, and obviously we want to extend a massive thank you to anyone that listens, interacts, follows, does anything, comments, all of it. We really, 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 really appreciate it. It means a lot to us that people support and listen. Thank you to everyone that does that. And yeah, crazy that we've been doing it 3 years and hopefully more years to come.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Yeah. I completely agree with you. Thank you to everyone as well. People who comment especially. It's really crazy to recognize names for the last 3 years now. So that's amazing. People that come back, anyone who's new and it finds an interest in one or two of our episodes, whatever it is. Thank you to everyone. And yeah, like you said, hopefully many, many more to come.
Yes, definitely. And it's nice to have kind of created like almost like a little community and kind of have people revisit and chat. And yeah, it's really, really lovely. So thanks to that. But obviously the main kind of crux of this episode is about the London Eras Tour shows, which I feel like I'm hopefully quite an expert on.
Yeah.
I was lucky to attend multiple shows across June and August and had the time of my life. Like, Taylor always pulls out the stops in London. Whenever I've seen Taylor previously, I've seen her in London for like the 1989 World Tour at Hyde Park. She brought out every supermodel ever in 2015. And then during the Reputation era, for the Reputation Stadium Tour, her 2 nights at Wembley Stadium, she brought out Niall Horan, which was the night I was at, and then Robbie Williams for Angels. But I feel like for Eras, she definitely set the bar even higher. And the surprises and guests and everything was just nuts. Like, I felt like the last 2 months, June to August, it just felt like London has just been like Swiftified. Like, everything has just been Taylor Swift. Like, everyone's wearing Eras Tour merch.
Right.
You know what I mean? We had the V&A rammed full of Taylor Swift outfits. Like,
yes, very exciting.
Every magazine, everything ever had her on it, and it was just like, to be a fan was just amazing. I couldn't imagine what it'd be like if you weren't. It must have been incredibly annoying, but if you're like a big fan, it was amazing.
Just that atmosphere of everything being soaked up in something that you really, really enjoy and love. Like you said, obviously for people who maybe don't enjoy her music as much, might have found it like, oh, thank God she's gone. But for us, obviously this is a very exciting moment. Even I think this is something that we discussed when we talked about our experience at the Eras Tour movie back in like almost a year ago.
Gosh,
because it was kind of like the first experience that we had, and especially for me, where I am, it was my first experience with being so close to other Swifties and the atmosphere of a gathering of fans, and to be able to have kind of like lived in that for the last couple of months must have been really, really fun.
Oh no, it was absolutely amazing. Like I said, especially with the V&A, I think that really also helped kind of make it really fun and exciting as well, because there was also this kind of like Taylor Swift, that's something I've always dreamed of, like a Taylor Swift kind of museum or anything like that. I've always wanted to go to, my dream is to go to like the Taylor Swift Education Centre, Grammy Museum, Country Music Hall of Fame. Then back in the day in around 2015 when she had, or 2015-16 when she had the Taylor Swift Experience, which was like featuring all sorts of outfits and stuff. I've always dreamed of going to something like that. Or even, the songwriter one in New York. yeah, so to have that here was amazing. Like, you know, to see some of those outfits in real life and have the V&A totally kind of encompassing Taylor was just so cool. And it's just been a bit of a dream come true this summer, like really, really fun. And like you said, last kind of autumn when we had the Eras Tour movie, that was so fun. And like the fact you go into a cinema and it was all decked out in Taylor stuff. The fact you could just wander around London and it was just everything was decked in Taylor was just like, oh my God, on an even grander scale. But yeah, it was amazing. And I guess starting off, obviously we had the June shows, and there was 3 June shows. I was lucky enough to attend the first and closing night of the June shows, so night 1 and night 3. And night 1, and I'm sure as you kind of relate, that first time was just like so overwhelming, a million emotions. I was stressed, nervous, excited, everything. Like, and when she came out, it was like, oh my God, I was kind of went into like a state of shell shock, you know what I mean, of like, oh my God, that's Taylor Swift, I'm at the Eras Tour, what on earth, how am I here? And that first night was just unreal. Like, everything was so exciting. It felt like it flew by that first time. Like,
oh God, yeah, I felt that too. It was very, very fast paced.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like almost 4 hours of show.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
really doesn't. So to anyone who has ever thought, wow, that's such a long time, honestly, really, it's not. It just goes pretty quick.
Flies by.
Yeah.
Yes, especially those first couple of eras, The Lover, Fearless, Red, Speak Now, Reputation. I'm like, oh my God, we're 5 years in. How are we nearly halfway?
Yeah, that is so true. Yeah.
You know, thankfully, because the later eras have kind of a longer set, it doesn't feel so like whoa, whoa, whoa. But I think because like Speak Now, for example, you know what I mean? By the time she's
it's in a blink of an eye.
To the end of the stage, she's back out. So it's a bit like, wow, that era flew by. But no, that first night was amazing. And those surprise songs for opening night was just crazy, where she did the kind of like bridge, the ultimate bridge mega mashups of Death by a Thousand Cuts and Hits Different, which was so cool. The crowd went crazy for it. And then the piano, which is probably my favourite piano song that I've seen her do, or piano mashup, which was The Black Dog, Come Back Be Here, and Maroon.
It was a very good one. That is like a top tier one, which is something that we'll have to speak about, because obviously you've seen quite a few different surprise songs now, but you've already given us a bit of a clue as to perhaps your favourite piano.
Probably yes.
It's a very solid one, I have to say. It's 3 really good songs, and 3 songs that you really enjoy and wanted to hear, really.
Yes, exactly. And also 2 of them to kind of be London themed is really cool. And it did also confirm that, you know, the Black Dog
True.
in London is potentially
that is something that we did speak about. Yep.
So that was quite cool. And then to pull in Come Back Be Here, so cool. I love that song. So yeah, that was a major like wow dream moment. So that was obviously my first time. Then I was lucky enough to get tickets for night 3, because night 2 was when Taylor brought out Hayley from Paramore,
yes,
on Castles Crumbling,
and which that actually marks probably one of the very, very few boxes that we're going to be able to tick off from our bingo square.
Yes.
So for anyone who doesn't know, at the beginning of this year we did a bingo square with all of our predictions for this year. It's not looking good, I can't lie. It's not looking great. But that is one that we can tick off, and in London. So that's pretty good. Yes.
No, yes, that is probably about one of 2 things potentially we've got right, if that. But no, that night, and then that was also when she did Mean and Thank You Amy, and she did like singing this, I'm going to be singing this at Wembley with lyric in Mean, which was really, really cool. But I didn't attend that night. I attended the Sunday, which was interesting because especially in June, and anyone that went in June or saw videos will know that naturally that's like peak British summertime, and therefore the days are a lot longer. So it means it doesn't really get dark till like 9:30, 10. So a lot of the set was in the daylight,
right?
Even, you know, pushing towards like 9:09 was in the daylight. And especially on the Sunday, because of like Sunday hours and curfew and stuff, the show had to be brought like really like forward really early. Taylor was on stage at about 6 o'clock, so it meant that basically 95% of the show, potentially bar midnights, was in daylight.
Yeah, it has been very interesting to see that. Like in Edinburgh, for example, it was completely in daylight for the whole show. Like people were leaving, and it was so funny to see. And I wonder if anyone here listening did go to any of them shows, or maybe to different shows in different places in the world, or even for you guys who have watched on live streams. How did you feel that changed your experience of the show? For you, Cameron, because you saw, like you said, you know, I think you were going to get into it, these ones in June compared to the ones in August. Did it affect very much?
I don't know if it affected the overall experience. I think one of the things is that, like, I feel like it helped make the show more immersive and really impressive, because like the lighting on the bracelets and stuff is one of the most impressive things. And I think what I really enjoyed about the August shows was that I could see so much more of those, even from Fearless and like Reputation. I could see the snakes going through the crowd, which I'd never ever seen before. Even though obviously they were working, it was too bright to ever see it.
I see.
So I felt like with those June shows, that was one thing that potentially, I'm not complaining at all. Like, they were absolutely amazing. I had the time of my life.
Oh yeah.
But that was one thing that unfortunately, naturally, because of British summer, you weren't able to see until literally the last sets. But what was quite cool was then getting to see them in the daylight as well, and being able to properly see the kind of crowd was quite cool. And I guess for Taylor as well, she can see fans a lot easier.
True, yeah. It's a very different experience, and everything has its pros and its cons, but it's just interesting to see how the show takes on a different kind of like different vibe to it, really.
Yes, it definitely does have a totally different vibe, and naturally the ones at the end I think really suit being in darkness. Midnight's, 1989, Torture Poets, I think really suit that.
Yeah, I agree.
So that was interesting to see, definitely, and that Sunday especially, because that third night 3 of the June shows was very interesting, because literally the whole thing was in the daylight. But that show was really fun. One, because it literally was all of my dream outfits.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Like, I was freaking out. We got like the purple Speak Now, green folklore dress, pink OG Lover, was like, it was like all of them. I was like, this is like dream. I think we also got the gold, was it the black? It was either the gold or black. My memory's a bit rough. Or like, you know, the new Fearless, but not the tiger one.
Yeah, like the one that recreates kind of like the older Fearless dresses.
OG, yeah. It was either that one or the gold one, the first OG one that we got. I can't remember, but both were like dream come true ones to see. So that was really fun. And then obviously we got Travis on stage, which the crowd, when
that's
that
true,
was mental.
So one thing I have to kind of jump in and say here is that for all of these shows, you and I are always on the phone, kind of like me reacting to everything, and you kind of like just sending me nondescript messages that I have to try and decipher, which is so fun. It's the closest to like being there, to be honest, because a really fun thing is that when I'm watching the live stream along with it would be like a few seconds delayed, obviously, because, you know, internet and whatever, the connections. So when you suddenly said Travis is on stage, I was like, you're joking me. And I looked at my screen and nothing had happened just yet, and then suddenly he pops out and I was like, what is going on? What a moment to be there for, to be honest.
That was crazy. Like, that was like a level of unhinged that we haven't seen from Taylor in a long time. You know
it was
that was just nuts.
It was crazy.
It was amazing though. Like, it was so cool, and the crowd, I can't even tell you, the screams were on another level, and you could see Taylor's face. She was loving it.
Yeah.
So was Travis, and it was that was a really cool moment, and I felt very like cool to be a part of. So obviously we had that, and then coming off the back of that, literally, because obviously that's like pre I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, then post I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, she then pulls out Gracie Abrams, and then they sing
the debut of Us,
which had only been out like 2 days, so I was a little bit rough. I knew the chorus and the rest, I was like, because obviously I'd been to the show on the Friday, so obviously I'd spent kind of all day in Wembley, hadn't really had time to listen to the song thoroughly to understand the lyrics. Then Saturday was knackered, listened to it a couple of times, and obviously not expecting to hear it on the Sunday. So that was a really cool moment to kind of get that. And then obviously Taylor then did this mental mega mashup of 1989, Out of the Woods, Clean, and Is It Over Now?
A dream. What a good mashup. Honestly, one of the episodes there's a couple of episodes that I'd really like to do. I don't know when we could do them, but either between now and Eras Tour coming back, or perhaps when Eras Tour is finished and done with. There's two things. One, I think we need to do a tier list of all of those outfits, especially because we've got some new outfits. So at this point in the tour, which is so interesting to see. And I think we might even get some more new ones heading into October. I really do.
Potentially.
And then secondly, I'd really like to do like a top 10 list of our favourite mashups that she's conceived, because there's some that are just like so like, yes, these two songs really go. And I love that as the time has gone on, she's really leaned into mashing them up, and not just like singing one then another and then going back to one, but she's like combining lyrics,
merging the songs. Love
that. It's such clever lyricism inside of lyricism. Oh, she's so good.
No, yeah, that was amazing moment. And yeah, probably out of my June shows, that one I had the most fun at.
Oh, definitely. I can imagine the crowd must have been just like ecstatic,
going nuts. Yeah, that one was definitely the most fun out of the two, even though both were just unreal. I think just because the second time I wasn't as nervous. I know that's a ridiculous thing to say, but
you knew what was coming.
Yeah, like it wasn't all like new, even though I know that show, the pair of us know that show inside out. We've watched almost every single live stream. We've seen the Eras tour in cinema, on Disney a million times, but seeing it in real life is just totally different. And just probably being able to see like the visuals on screen and stuff was also really interesting. I was really trying to pay attention to that as well. So the first night was so much to process. The second night was just really, really good fun. And then obviously we had a bit of a pause in between the June dates and the August dates, and also in June put so much effort into my outfits. I went as a Dice opening night, so I went as a Dice.
Yeah, that was months in the making.
Angel Saw the Rise. Months of bejeweling this Dice costume, because I went with some friends and we did like, one of us was a devil, I was the Dice, someone was an angel, and someone was like eyes. So that was a really, really cool moment to like prep this outfit and wander around Wembley as a Dice. I looked like an idiot, but it was really, really
it was good. It was funny. I liked it. Night 3 June, I just went with a Eras Tour t-shirt because it was kind of a bit of a last minute show, but that was really fun to kind of prep for that. And then in my August dates, one of the outfits I was really prepping for was Junior Jules, which was something that as a kid I've always wanted to make. It's just such a staple and a classic of the Taylor Swift fandom. I love how it's just like become this, and it's appeared like multiple times in the lore of Taylor Swift, and I think it's always going to be such a fun and creative one as well. You can personalize it a lot of different ways.
Yes.
The one that I did had the album names on it for when I went to watch the film. The one that you did had all of these amazing songs, your favourite songs on it.
My favourite songs.
I've seen people do it with like getting people to sign it. I've seen people put in different
names,
kind of references or different things that Taylor has said over the years. A lot of different ways that you can personalise it, and it's just such a fun experience, a very Swiftian experience. So I'm glad you got to do your own personalisation.
Yes. No, that was so fun. That was so fun. I thoroughly enjoyed making my Junior Jules outfit. I'm not sure what to do with it because I'm paranoid about washing it, but I'll work out what I will do with it. But
I know
it was really, really good fun. And like you said, because I remember when you made yours for the Eras Tour movie, I was like, oh god, I was like, I have to do one. And yeah, no, I was very, very excited that I probably had all the pajama bottoms and everything. So yeah, that was, so then going into August, I was lucky enough to go to night 4, which was technically opening night in August, which was unreal. Quite frankly, it was the coolest show. Again, Taylor came out in all my dream outfits.
Oh yeah.
And then obviously she then brought out Ed Sheeran. Which
I gotta say,
crazy.
It's funny how you're always at the scene of the crime.
Scene of the crime, yes.
When
I remember when you
things go down.
When you sent me that message, I thought that was hilarious because I'm always there whenever, like at Haim when she's pulled out.
Exactly.
Or, whenever something like Travis and whatever. It's like I did think that message that you sent me was hilarious when you were like.
Yeah, I was like, if anything crazy is going to go down, if like something really unexpected, because in a way, like Hayley Williams, like we said, we kind of had guessed that she'll be out at some point. Yeah. But then to get random Travis appearance on stage or a random Ed Sheeran, although I guess that was also kind of rumoured prior, but still, it's such an interesting thing to see and a real throwback to the Red Days. Seeing them pictures of them like comparing like 2014 and 2024 and the Red Tour and the eras.
It was amazing.
Nostalgic.
Like, yes, definitely, because she started playing
Everything Has Changed.
She started playing Everything Has Changed, and I was like, oh, this is fun. Like, as a kid, this was my
I knew
song.
He was coming out as soon as that happened. I was like, oh, he's coming.
Cameron,
he's coming.
Didn't click.
He's coming, Cameron.
That didn't click.
I guess because
until she was like,
you were in the stadium, so you weren't looking online and stuff. I was just, scrolling and seeing what was going on. And I had read a lot of people kind of speaking about it. So as soon as she started playing it, I was like, oh, Cameron, get ready.
I had no idea. It was only until she was like, I can't exactly do this on my own.
Yeah.
I was like, what? And then he came, that was crazy. And the people around me, I'll finish this and then I'll get into that. There's too much to talk about. But Ed Sheeran, mental. Like, Everything Has Changed, especially like teenage me, that was my biggest dream come true, see Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran perform Everything Has Changed, or just even be on stage together. So seeing that was like, oh my god, this was like my biggest dream ever as a teenager. Like, that was crazy. And then they performed obviously Endgame, which is only the second time they've ever performed it.
Yeah, together.
And then Thinking Out Loud, which, wow, Taylor's vocals on that song.
I love it when she does a little cover of a song and just like kind of shows off a little bit, because honestly, the progression of her live vocals are absolutely insane. Like, I really, when I was there, I wasn't sure what to expect anyway, but it was really, really incredible. Like, the show that she puts on and the way that she must have trained to get to this level.
It's nuts.
I know there's been a lot of backlash and a lot of people, people in bad faith who will say, oh no, she's lip syncing, she's this, she's that. But I think one thing that goes to prove, and I think we might have discussed this before, is that there are little instances in the show where she kind of like interrupts herself or asks for help.
Yeah, she goes like, can you get water? Yeah.
Exactly. And you can tell she misses out little bits of the song or whatever. And again, her work ethic,
I think, to be fair,
to have trained for this is incredible.
Exactly. And one of the things is, the audios that leaked from Paris.
Yes, yeah.
Where it's like her mic feed leaked and she is singing the whole time.
True.
And you can't fake that.
You can hear her breathing and, and catching her breath and the rest of it.
And you can hear the background singers singing. So yeah, no, I hate it when people come for her for that, because it's just like, it's not only offensive to her, but it's also highly offensive to her band.
Exactly. Who are actually working a lot and doing it.
Yeah.
Her band also, when I saw them in person, incredible.
Musicians.
Yes, they really, really are. Exactly. All of them. And to have been with her for such a long time and to have created, they really know. They know the music deep in their bones.
Yes.
They know the show.
Yeah, because
deeply professional.
Now, a lot of them are now on the Taylor's versions. Some of them were on the original ones, but now most of them work on the Taylor's versions. So also, they know those songs inside out. But yeah, Ed Sheeran was just crazy dream come true. Crowd was so loud, it was nuts. And then obviously after Ed Sheeran came off stage, after Taylor gave this speech that literally I was like floods of tears when she was like, I see Ed Sheeran as like a second brother. And I was just like, oh my god. She then sang King of My Heart on piano.
Cameron.
And if you are a swiftly spoken listener, you'll know how crazy that is.
The lore is deep. So for anyone who may have randomly come across this video or don't really know or may not remember, a long time ago when we were kind of doing predictions or analysing the first few surprise songs that Taylor had done, both of us had a little mention of songs that we would like to hear live, and one of mine was King of My Heart on piano. I specifically said that. And then at Madrid night 2, what did I get? I was so lucky. King of My Heart on piano. And as soon as she sat down on that piano and played them first two little notes, I was like, Cameron, you're joking me. Oh my god.
I was like,
Swiftly Spoken were together that night.
It was really nice, because it was like one of those things where obviously we haven't gone to the tour together, even though I feel like we've experienced both our shows and the shows kind of together.
Yeah.
We obviously haven't physically been there together. So like to have something that, like,
in spirit,
even though obviously we've seen the rest of the 3.5 hour show so even though we've obviously
that's true.
But it was to get something that was like so specific.
Yeah.
The chances of both seeing the same song
and on piano
in the same on the same musical instrument was just so nice. It was almost like, in a weird way, we were both kind of there and we've both kind of seen the show in some weird way together, you know what I mean? So that was amazing. Like, that was really nice for just like, you know what I mean, like me, you know what I mean? It was almost like the Ed Sheeran thing was like, that was really cool for teenage me.
True.
Then the King of My Heart thing was like cool for current me, and then obviously she mashed it up with the Alchemy.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Went off.
Loved it.
Everyone was going crazy for it. So yeah, no, that for me was that is my favourite night. Like, it was
so overall, because you went to closing night as well, which we'll get to in a second. So overall, you would say that London, let's call it night 4, the Ed Sheeran night is your favourite?
Favourite, 100%. Okay. It was so fun. Like, I just can't even describe how, like, all the outfits were on, like, all of them were my favourite nights. Like,
it was a very solid night, yeah.
But that one, to see Ed Sheeran and stuff, was really, really cool. And the people around me were just so lovely. Everyone was trading bracelets.
Aww.
There was these 2 guys in front of us that, like had their heads resting on each other during King My Heart, and then the girl next to me took a photo of them and gave it to them and was like, I've got this photo. She's like, I don't want to be a creep, but I've got this photo. And like, oh my God,
the community of it
dreams. All. Yeah, they were like, that's our dream surprise song, and I was like, I'm gonna cry.
Oh my God.
It was just such a lovely night, and everyone around was just so lovely and just fun, and perfect. Honestly, it was just like the perfect night. Yeah, it was amazing and so cool. So I felt very, very lucky to be there that night, and I felt very, very cool. The amount of people that were kind of messaging me like, "Oh my God,"
because Ed Sheeran is like, you know, a very obviously famous worldwide, but he is like very, very England core celebrity.
He's
you know, like he's massive.
Said,
yeah.
Ed Sheeran is playing, he plays Wembley Stadium.
Oh my God, every other day he's in there. Yeah.
Yeah, he is there all the time. But no, so that was absolutely amazing. So yeah, I was lucky enough to go to night 4. And then I was also lucky to go to night 5, which is when I then went as Junior Jules. The night before I wore like a debut Eras Tour t-shirt.
Yeah, very debut.
Yes, I was fingers crossed for debut, but unfortunately I never got it, but I cannot complain at all.
That's true.
But then, Junior Jules, and then that night again was just absolutely amazing. The surprise songs were a shock. I did not expect to get London Boy, like even though obviously at some point
finally,
it was like I didn't think it'd be like night 5.
It was a bit of a random night, to be honest with you. It was, but finally we got London Boy.
Yes.
I had, you know, I'm guessing it every single night on Mastermind. It was like, please. Give me a point, Taylor. So finally we got London Boy. No remix.
No remix, yeah. To be fair, I had, I think it was 3 songs, technically, that were no remix. Us, London Boy, and So Long London.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes you need a no remix one.
It is quite nice to have, because you got it with King of My Heart. Yours was remixes.
It's a bit random, that.
Even though it's cool to have the remixes, sometimes it's quite nice to hear the song in its entirety as well.
True.
So no, that was London Boy was amazing, obviously, and that was one of the songs I did really want to hear.
Yes.
I know it's not everyone's favourite, but like,
no.
Who doesn't want to hear it in London? Like, come on.
Exactly. I have to say that was one of the songs that you had also spoken about from way back in the day as well. So I'm glad that, you know, Tim McGraw may not have made an appearance, but
slipped. But yeah,
that's fine. Oh, well. London Boy was there, so we can't.
Exactly.
We mustn't complain.
No, I got London Boy, Out of the Woods, Come Back Me Here. You're kidding me?
Oh, come on, yeah.
But yeah, no, that was so cool. And then she did a mashup of Dear John and Sad Beautiful Tragic, which were rogue but so cool. Like, again, that was such a cool mashup, and one of the first times where she hasn't included a Torture Poets song.
True, for a while, yeah.
A mashup at all. Like, literally, it was like for the first time in quite a while we haven't had a Torture Poets song. So that was really, really cool, and those were really, really solid surprise songs. And yeah, that show was also absolutely amazing. I had the time. It's so hard to distinguish them because they're all so fun. I had the time of my life, and then again, as you said, I was very, very lucky to go to closing night 8.
Yeah,
which was nuts.
I think
show, like,
we were just coming off the back of it from like 2 days ago, right? So I think maybe a lot of things haven't been processed by the fandom at large, but we're here to break it down because a lot went on. We had an addition in the set list.
Yes.
We had surprise songs that went mad, and then we had a video, an MV release.
Yes.
Right there. With no one said anything. Taylor did it. She just walked off that stage and let it play.
She walked off stage and then they started playing it. I know. And I think so many people just thought that was the norm, because so many people were just leaving. I think because they just thought, oh, they must just show behind the scenes when she finishes.
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
But no, that was a brand new video. But yeah, obviously the night was amazing, and as I said, one of the amazing things with the August nights was getting to see all of the lights, and those August shows, every single one, like, I could properly, even during my Ed Sheeran night, I could see it. You couldn't. Whenever you went to take a photo, it never really came up. But I could see the love hearts during the song "Lover." I could see
the snake
during "Fearless." You know, what's it for a love story when it's like knelt to the ground, pulled out a ring, and said, and the lights lift up.
Yeah,
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw the snakes, and also during Reputation, which I didn't notice, was when she's doing the old Taylor Can't Come to the Phone. There's also like boxes that are turning. You know, like the boxes on stage.
Yeah, I think maybe dice. I'm not sure.
Potentially, yeah. It's some sort of like square or box turning.
Yeah,
which is really, really, really cool, and I didn't get to see that the first time, and so yeah, those were amazing to see anyway. But then that final night, and as you said, I know that set list inside out, and after So High School, I was like, what's she doing? Why is she just stood there like
that moment again? It was very fun to be on the other side of our message chain, because obviously again my live stream was kind of a little bit laggy. I was still on So High School, and suddenly you're like, she's singing another song, she's singing another, and I'm like, what do you mean? And suddenly, well, you can take it from here because you were there. So
no, because I didn't even realise what the song was, because like it was so instant that I was just singing it.
Muscle memory kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, Florida. And I was like, huh? And then I turned around and was like, this isn't on the set list. I was like, this isn't on the set list. This isn't on the set list. Mm-hmm. And then it was only until then, obviously, the floor dropped and then we could see Florence coming up. I was like, oh my God. And it was the fact that, because this is the first time on the Eras tour, actually, bar Haim, actually, that's a little bit of a lie. Because when Haim came out, they were integral to, they were part of the, like, you know what I mean? Like the actual set rather than like.
True. And also Phoebe Bridgers had a little moment with Nothing New. Yeah.
Yes, very true. It's been the first time, at least on the European leg, where we've had like a total new addition to the set, and also the fact that it was like
with a guest,
with the guest, and all of the like stage and graphics were all like bog. They were like all like
yes,
you know what I mean? And
yeah, you were in the swamp for real.
Yes,
yeah, we have to speak about this. Yeah, because this has been prepared, right? This is not just a little moment.
She didn't rock up the day before. And
exactly.
Like,
this wasn't like a moment like in the first round of London shows where, you know, Hayley Williams comes out and sits on the piano, or when Sabrina came out and sat on the piano.
Yeah,
this was practicing a lot to incorporate it, like with Nothing New, like with Haim, and also like with Long Live, which is another one that kind of did get added in.
Yes.
But do you think we're going to see more of this? Is Florida gonna, I mean, obviously next up she's going down to Florida, so
potentially
I feel it's a lot of work to be put in for one night.
Yes, I think so, definitely. I can see that happening 100%. Gosh, that's interesting that we could have another version of the Eras tour, a third version.
That's true. I mean, honestly, we don't know what could happen between now and October, where she might kind of like tweak little things. Obviously, in the case of, we've had additions like Long Live and Nothing New, but we also had No Body No Crime replacing Tis the Damn Season. So could this be the case of this was a trial to see if she could add it and it would go smoothly? Or is this a case that it makes TTPD a little bit too long and she might want to replace another moment? Although that'd be, I don't know which one. I don't know if I could see anything.
Want to get rid of... I feel like all those songs work so well.
That is so true.
Who's Afraid of Little On Me? I wouldn't want to get rid of that.
No, I love that moment. I don't know. It's a hard one.
Even like Down Bad into Fortnight, I think it's quite cool, and it's quite short anyway. It doesn't really take up much time.
Still, it'll be interesting to see, but it was very interesting to observe how it wasn't just her and Florence and like the backing dancers, you know, like stepped away for a minute. It was the staging had a choreograph as well.
Yeah.
Everything was very, very much practice.
Even the lights.
Yeah.
When it went like Florida, they were like lifted up. And
exactly.
It was so cool.
It's a lot of effort to go through to do all of that for one night, I feel, but I'm not sure. I mean, I guess we'll figure it out very, very soon, but I think maybe at least for those Florida shows, that would be incredible. We'll have to see as well how Florence, you know, what she's up to, but I don't know, it could be really cool.
Yeah, no, I think that was absolutely amazing. And then so it kind of came off the back of that in the Torture Poets set, and then got on to the surprise songs, and then obviously she brought out Jack, which was just crazy. But to be fair, I did see coming. I think you messaged saying that Jack was there, and I was like, okay, whenever Jack's there, he's gonna. So I did see that coming.
Yeah.
Whereas Ed Sheeran, I did not see coming. And then obviously they did Getaway Car, which went nuts, and Death by a Thousand Cuts. I've actually seen Death by a Thousand Cuts twice.
Yes, a little repeat.
In June and August, yes. But that was so cool. And I think the coolest thing with the Jack little feature, because bless him, Jack was just kind of stood there most of it, because obviously he isn't singing. But
like the emotional support companion.
When they did the like reenacting of them creating the bridge for Getaway Car, where they're like, oh, you know, that was the first time you ever saw me. That was really quite cool. It's really, become really
like a really like memed and shared again moment in the fandom. That it's a nice to have a little nod to that, and it's just a fun, cute little moment, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. And then obviously she did So Long London.
Yes.
Which was, again, expected. I did expect that.
I did guess it as well. Amazing way to close off the whole thing, though, to be honest with you.
Yes.
Really, really
I think
amazing messaging.
What I felt really lucky with as well, that all the shows that I attended, not only were the ones with like surprises, obviously bar Hayley, but they were also all the ones with London songs.
True. That's actually very
London
true.
Boy and So Long. Which is really cool to get London Boy.
You always got a London song, yeah.
Yes.
That's fun.
So I feel very, very lucky and just had the time of my life. I can't believe it's over. It's still kind of feel like I'm still emotionally, physically recovering, because it is exhausting.
Definitely.
Because in June I didn't do 2 in a row, and in August I did 2 in a row, and
it's a lot.
I'm not complaining at all, but God, it is tiring.
It is a lot.
When I came back, I was knackered.
Which makes you just think about how much it must be for all those people on the stage.
How the dancers, the band, Taylor.
I don't know. They must be trained. They must have trained. Well, they did. They trained for a long time before the tour even started, and now it's a well-oiled machine. They've been doing it for almost 2 whole years at this point. But it does put it into perspective when you're actually there and you see the grand scale of it all and think, oh my God, for me this is 1 day, 2 days, 3 days even, but for them
it's 5 in a row.
Exactly. And then onto the next city and then onto the next place. And I am glad that they're finally going to be able to get a breather and a pause now.
Break.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And rest until the last leg of shows.
But yeah, and I just had the most amazing time. Everyone was so lovely. There in the stadium, on the tube, everywhere. It was just so fun, and I got to do it with so many cool friends, and it was just absolutely amazing. And also a massive shout out to the Wembley staff, like the staff and security. I really know, I've been to Wembley quite a bit, even this year and previously, but in August especially, and I could notice it from June to August, the step up in making fans feel safe, welcome and secure was really, really impressive, and they were proper on it. And I've never ever had a bad experience with Wembley Stadium. I've always felt very safe, but especially this time I felt incredibly safe.
Yeah, and that's something that
the staff was so lovely.
It was very important to kind of guarantee for many, many different reasons. And I think here is a moment where we can just quickly speak about, what went down. Incredibly sad, very frightening situation.
Oh, terrifying.
Having to cancel those Vienna shows because of such a real threat. Like, I can't imagine how anyone must have felt. To the fans who were affected by it, that's such a sad, sad thing to have to go through. To Taylor and her team to have felt that it was so close, really, to such a horrible, devastating thing. I don't even want to imagine it. But all we can say is,
awful,
I'm so glad that everything... there was no loss of lives. That is the most important thing. And I think Taylor worded it perfectly in her statement that she put out earlier on.
And you could see that was really a massive priority in Wembley.
Yeah, definitely.
Even and what was quite sad about it, even from just a personal experience, was obviously in June it was so exciting. And I think I even said to you during those August shows, those days leading up, I was quite stressed out about it. And was
it was a very worrying situation because
it's so awful.
There's a lot of anxiety, a lot of people who may have felt unsafe. Just, a week after everything that went down, it is quite scary. And honestly, I think it was a very brave thing that a lot of people did choose to go, and because I could understand people feeling unsafe or feeling scared. But again, Taylor's team, I think, to them, to the staff at Wembley, to the security, it was really stepped up, and a lot. You saw it firsthand for sure.
Yeah,
but that was the priority, and that was the important thing.
Definitely, and they made people feel very safe and incredibly welcome. Like the amount of Wembley staff that were handing out friendship bracelets and were just like welcoming, to Swifties. And generally, I didn't come across a single person, fan, security staff, that wasn't just so lovely. Also, one thing that I haven't mentioned is that Lisa made, for each of my outfits, me a friendship bracelet that corresponded. So each night I got to wear, with my outfit, a little friendship bracelets. And I've obviously said it in private, but thank you again for that, because that was so lovely. And again, felt like you were kind of with me.
I'm glad
for the kind of shows. And yeah, that was really, really cool to have a little bracelet themed around the little outfit I was wearing. And then even fans coming up to me and giving me ones that, again, potentially themed to the stuff I was wearing. So just honestly, the best summer of my life.
Been very lucky to be a part of all of this, honestly, as fans, as long-term fans, leading up to this. I do recognise the privilege that we have had to be able to attend multiple nights and to be able to speak about the such a good experience that we have had. And it definitely has been amazing. And I hope that at least with these episodes, for anyone who may have missed out potentially, at least you can kind of get the feel for it. If not, I think the good thing is that we do have those films, we do have the live streams, and I think so much community has come out of a lot of this. And again, you could even see that at the cancelled Vienna shows, where people really banded together. The city really banded together as well, and I empathise with them so deeply. But I'm really happy to see how people did come together, and people were trading bracelets, singing, different shops you could go into and get special treats. And apart from that, in the more general Swiftie community, I think these last few months have been really, really fun. Even just watching these last few shows and seeing the live streams and seeing people really excited and playing Mastermind and guessing different outfits. I
feel like we've all kind of been a part of every show and involved. And
exactly.
Yeah, no, and it has been so fun, and I genuinely don't know what I'm going to do with myself. Especially, obviously, now my Eras shows are done, and I'm kind of like in this state of, what do I do? But especially when the whole tour comes to an end, I'm just going to be kind of lost, I think.
I know. It's a bit weird at the moment, because obviously we have a little break, and it was very emotional to see them all like hugging at the end and the rest of it. But ultimately, we do know that we've got another round, and it's still very exciting to see the last hurrah of the Eras tour. It's going to visit places that it hasn't before, which is, again, very exciting for anyone, any fans who may be listening, who may be attending any of these last tour shows. Please let us know where you're going, when are you going, because again, for a lot of people it will be their first time round, so that's very exciting. But like you said, after that, what will we do? Because it has become like a staple. All this summer I've been, guessing the outfits and tracking the surprise
watching
songs,
the live streams and surprise songs. Yeah.
And it's going to feel a bit empty after that. But,
oh, God.
All good things come to an end, and we move on to bigger, better, who knows? More surprises to come, that's for sure.
Okay, we've now come to the end of the episode. Thank you again for listening, and hopefully you enjoyed me kind of sharing my experience. Again, I had the absolute time of my life, the best summer of my life. And also we'd like to, again, say a massive thank you to everyone that listens and celebrate our podcast anniversary. And do not worry, we're not going anywhere. There is still more Swiftly Spoken. We've got loads of episodes planned, and obviously, as ever, we'll react to everything Taylor has done. So yeah, we have lots of fun stuff planned for season 4, so keep an eye out for all of that. But thanks again for listening, and we'll speak to you soon. If you're not yet subscribed on YouTube, then hit the subscribe button. If you enjoyed listening to this video, then also hit the like button. If you are an audio listener and listening over on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere where you listen to podcasts, we'd also really appreciate it if you would rate us. And if you'd like to stay up to date with all things Swiftly Spoken and all things season 4 Swiftly Spoken, then make sure to follow us over on Instagram. Our handle is @SwiftlySpokenPodcast. Thanks again for listening, and we will speak to you soon.